organization, they are not going to win the war on terrorism. The Muslim Brotherhood will be the organization that beats us in the war on terrorism. We're going to take a quick call right now from Barbara in Baltimore. Barbara, are you there?
Hey, yes, I am here, and thank you so much for bringing this to the forefront. It's been a great show. I've never heard you before, but I'm just so thankful to you because
Thank you, Barbara.
Is serious. This is really serious. You know, and a lot of people are looking at this, and I know especially liberals, they don't realize that they're almost signing their own death warrant by voting for Hillary Clinton.
Exactly.
They don't realize how deep this thing is. And I'm very grateful for hearing from Michelle Bachmann, haven't heard from her in a while. I was out in Las Vegas with her campaigning for Sharon Ingalls 2 years back. She's a wonderful patriot. But this is a call to arms. And I didn't realize that there was a bill coming up about the Muslim Brotherhood. They're embedded in our system.
Barbara, that's exactly right. They control our system. You know, what's amazing about this, Barbara, is, you know, if you go back to 622 and you look at how Muhammad actually created Islam, when he was run out of Mecca and goes to Medina, he literally co-opted the tribes of Medina and then went back and conquered Mecca. It's very analogous to what we see happening today, where the Brotherhood has come to the West. You know, Phil telling us earlier, they've been here since the 1960s, and they've been working inside of our system, and now they have us. You know, we removed Gaddafi. We removed Mubarak. It was the United States power that was put to work on their behalf in the Middle East. And we have to ask ourselves, when we're talking about somebody like Huma Abedin, how deep is this? Where does this go? Phil?
The other thing to keep in mind is this has been proven in federal court. Since November of 2008, the administration cannot plausibly say that they didn't know, because the Department of Justice proved irrefutably in federal court in the Holy Land Foundation trial that convicted 5 individuals of 102 counts of supporting of Hamas, that all these groups that we keep referring to, Council on American Islamic Relations, Islamic Society of North America Islamic Trust, Muslim Society of America, they're all proven in federal court to be known front groups with affiliations of support of Hamas. This is deliberate and intentional. It's on the verge of treasonous to bring individuals and organizations into a close affiliation with the administration, knowing that they have links to terrorism.
That's an incredible point that you're making there, Phil, which is everybody inside that actually works this issue, that does any due diligence on their own, is very familiar with what these groups are, to include federal courts.
If I had a magic computer and I could set it down in front of Secretary of Homeland Security Jay Johnson or President Obama, it would take me about 15 to 20 seconds to show them what we call derogatory information on all of these affiliated organizations.
So you're saying in 20 seconds you can show these guys what they need to know to make a sound national security decision, but somebody's blocking you from getting that access.
Well, they took it out of the system. Nonetheless, the stuff that does remain, it wouldn't take me more than 15 or 20 seconds to bring it up. A few keystrokes, and there it would be.
Here's the scary part. And in 21 seconds, I can have rebuttal out to 100 million people through 5 social networks. That's the real challenge.
Well, here we go. The guys, let me walk this up a little bit for a second. When you start talking about this, John, go ahead. You want to say something?
Yeah. You know, another thing, I'm not just pushing this out because I've filmed this, but people can go to my website, jonathantgillum.com, and you can click on the Experts tab. That's a little video series that I do, and to go right along with this, I made a video that's about 20 minutes long that lays out a 4-stage strategic war plan. We've talked about it before on this show, so people can see the reality of how easy it is to make these decisions and the stuff that you're talking about. Why aren't people in Congress making these decisions and pushing these things forward? Because I really want to know. I was going to ask this Ms. Bachmann this question. Do they realize that there is massive amounts of conversation going on Twitter and Facebook and social media by civilians that are saying we may be in that day and age that Thomas Jefferson talked about, where we have to remove the government? Do these people in office realize that?
Right. Here's the thing that is really shocking to me, is that the goal of jihad is it's the destruction of your enemy's faith. That's ultimately their faith in their God, faith in their country, faith in their countrymen. That is their goal. And what you see happening right now on the streets of America is that, our government has been the tool that they have put to work disheartening, breaking the hearts of the American people. And this is a lead into the next.
It doesn't make it free where you can say what you want, because it's pretty soon it's going to be illegal for you to say that.
That's the entire intent of the CVE legislation that's moving forward, is that it allows an extra legal definition of what a violent extremist is. You know, DHS, when they put out their first guidelines on who a threat was, who was it? It was us, veterans. That was the biggest threat that they named, returning veterans. So we're the issue. So when you get into this, I mean, we have a special caller coming in from Colorado today, and he's known to a couple of us here in the room, and he's a hero of mine because of the
Me too.
because of the PTSD issue and the soldier suicides issue, and what we're talking about, the destruction of faith. You know, jihad is spiritual warfare, and we see it. I mean, I'm going to dedicate this segment to a guy who used to work for me. He took his own life a couple of years ago, named Mike Tomei. To his family, a shout out. We still think of him. We pray for him. Paul, are you there?
I am.
Paul, it's so great to talk to you, brother. And John,
Rich, thanks for having me.
John has a big grin on his face, and the other two guys are going, how do I get this guy's phone number? So
Good to hear.
So let me give you a quick background here on Paul. Paul's a retired Chief Master Sergeant, Paul Lavelle. He's the founder and executive director of Operation Restored Warrior, 26 years on active duty in the United States Air Force. He's a medic, served through various commands, culminating in service at the United States Air Force Academy, and retired in 2001. And he's got an interesting story. And Paul, I'm going to let you tell your story here a little bit. But I really, for the veterans who are listening out there, what and their families, what can we tell? What can we give them in terms of some hope?
Well, thank you, Rich, and thank you, Philip, for having me. There is hope. There is hope. One of the biggest assaults on our military veterans is the loss of hope, which culminates into suicide and suicide ideation. ORW is kind of a glimmer out there, Operation Restored Warrior, and we've been operating now for about 8 years, and we have been working with combat vets from all the services, from E2s all the way up to senior generals, and we have seen a remarkable outcome of our 5-day program.
So, Paul, let me ask you a quick question. So, the VA right now, they want to bring people in. They want to hand them a backpack full of drugs and send them on their way. Maybe counseling once every couple months. What do you say to people out there about what do you do that's different than what the VA is doing?
Well, we do a lot different. The VA is literally they're putting a Band-Aid on an arterial bleed. They're dealing with issues that are physiologic, psychologic, and the loss of hope is a spiritual issue. Like I said, these guys that are going to them, they literally get bags of medicine. Guys come to our program, and they've literally, in their backpacks, they've got anywhere between 4 to 12 prescriptions. And by the time they leave, they are in a completely different place. See, they're medicating a spiritual issue, and you cannot medicate a spiritual issue.
Hey, Paul.
I found it to be true.
Yeah. Paul, this is John Idonacy. Can you unpack so how many people have been through the program, and what's been the success rate of the people going through the program?
So to date, we've had over 700 warriors go through the program, and we have had 100% success rate.
And some of these people, without obviously going into names, but what magnitude of injury or what crisis are they dealing with when they arrive at the front door?
Well, it's interesting because I share this with a number of people when they ask about ORW. On the first evening, when the men come, we have a beautiful ranch that's donated to us by Catherine and Michael Berry, a 4 Eagle Ranch up in near Vail, Colorado. When the guys come in that evening, we sit around the table, and we've got 6 to 8 guys that are actually attending the program, and they're hurting. And every single program, at least 3 or 4 of these guys look at us. We'll ask them, what do you hope to get out of these 5 days? And they'll pause and they'll look at us, and at least half of these guys have said to us, if this doesn't work, I am done. Many of them have attempted to take their lives. I guarantee you there are listeners out there right now that have had 4 pounds of pressure on a 5-pound trigger.
So, Paul, here's a quick question for you. If you're a family member and you're out there listening right now, how do they get in touch with you? What do they do? What are the criteria by which somebody gets to the program?
Yeah, thanks, Rich. Well, they come to our website. It's operationrestoredwarrior.org. And just hit the Contact Us button, and one of our team will be getting back with them. But what's important to know is that literally I get hundreds of emails from spouses, from mothers, from family members, from friends who are reaching out on behalf of their military veterans, and they want to help. But the thing is that if the military veteran doesn't reach out to us, if they're not looking for that help, then there's not much we can do. You can't push mud up a hill.
Paul, what's it cost? Paul, what's it cost?
For the military, it's free. All they got to do is get there.
So it's free. So they have to pay their travel out. Is that what you mean?
That's right. They pay their travel out. We found on the front end of this, there were so many organizations out there that were, offering free things to our veterans, which is fine. But we found that they needed to have some skin in the game. And in that was, okay, well, what do they need to do? And we felt that if they could just get their airline ticket and get out there, then we'd take care of the rest, and we do. So to date, we have never charged one veteran a penny to come out to our program.
Oh, that's amazing. John and I can attest. Both of us have been through the program. It is absolutely life-changing. It explains things that happen in war and things that happen in your life in a way that just nothing else can. I've seen folks go through that, and literally in 6 days, they absolutely have turned their lives around. And one of the things I think going forward, Paul, what do you hope is the future for your program?
Well, we right now we're in the process of trying to expand the program. We have a place near Vail, Colorado, as I just mentioned. We have one, the Knutson Lodge in South Lake Tahoe, which is donated to us. And we're looking to expand to the East Coast and to get 3 programs going simultaneously. And so, but that takes funds. That takes obviously dollars to do.
Well, that's what I wanted the listeners to know. If you want to help with the PTSD issue and you're listening out there today, go to operationrestoredwarrior.org. Paul gave us insights here today. I have one closing thought on this is, as we fight an enemy that sees the battlefield in spiritual terms, then we have to see the battlefield in spiritual terms. It's a tenet of warfare. You engage the enemy as the enemy sets the engagement. Paul, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Ray.
Thank you, Paul.
Thanks so much.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's Paul Lavelle, personal hero of mine. You're listening to Sean Hannity. Dial-in number here is 800-941-SEAN. That's 800-941-7326. Twitter @Sean Hannity. Give us feedback. Reach out to Operation Restored Warrior. Guys, thanks. Join us after the break.
Want to keep healthy?